Here are a few tips to help you if you are new to teaching face-to-face workshops. I like to ask everybody to come at least 20 minutes before the start time because some people may have problems getting there and finding the location, and you really want everybody to be relaxed, ready to learn, and not stressed when you start. You also want to start the class on time. And I like to start with a brief introduction to myself, a very quick story, and really quickly go around the room and asking people to introduce themselves. I explain how the day is going to run. For example, if it was an eco-printing class, we would start with a small bit of note-taking, then we would actually go through the process. I would do a step-by-step demonstration, and then everybody would start making their pieces, rolling their bundles. We would get them into the pot before we took a break for lunch, and then I would explain what was going to happen in the afternoon. So you want to preempt questions. If people have a lot of questions about the end result, in eco-printing, I'm using this as an example, I would just explain that I will be happy to answer all those questions after lunch. We need to get the bundles in the pot. Trust me, follow what I'm doing. We get everything in the pot. We have a break. I answer questions and I go back over what we learned in the morning, and then we start opening the bundles one by one. So encourage questions at appropriate times throughout the day, not just at the end, because you want to keep everybody engaged and, on track with what is happening. You don't want to rush, but you do want to check on everybody regularly, go around the room and make sure everybody understands exactly what they're doing. And a big tip that I have found very helpful for me is to ask all the participants to request that they ask me the question rather than asking other participants, because often it's like Chinese whispers. One person hears one thing, then they tell their neighbor, they tell the next person, they answer the question, and actually that may not be what I want them to do at all. And so what's obvious to me or somebody with more experience may not be obvious to new participants at all. So you need to reassure everybody and keep them on track and keep the energy up. Encourage people to have a break, to have a snack, to have a drink, and then adapt as necessary. And then you want to celebrate everybody's work. I love during an eco-printing workshop to take photos of people as they're working, to have photos of everybody with their very first bundle, before they go in the pot, when they come out, and then the finished piece. But it is important when, as a tutor, you are doing this, that you have got permission from people to take photos, that you know whether they are happy for you to share certain images online on social media afterwards, or whether they would just be happy for you to send an email out after the workshop and share group photos with everybody. Some people do not want pictures taken, and that's perfect. So as the tutor, you need to be clear what you can do, and you also want other participants to know they should never take photos of fellow participants' work without permission, and they need to identify what they can do with them. Usually, this would just be for their own reference so that they can refresh their mind over what happened during the workshop. So celebrate progress and, positive feedback. It builds encouragement. It helps people. You want to always be kind. You also want to be firm and not sugarcoat things. If a participant is doing something that is not going to result in a successful outcome, don't be afraid in a kind way to tell them. But don't do this in a really loud voice and say, hey, no, don't do that. Just, you don't want somebody to feel like you're picking on them. You want them to feel that it's an inclusive atmosphere. And if they're not doing the process correctly, you are going to help them and share how they can do it. And beginners may need a lot more patience and explanation, and advanced participants might want that freedom to explore. However, often I find that beginners are actually very good students because they just listen exactly to what you're saying. So just be flexible with everything, and be kind, enjoy the process, finish on time. Make sure all your participants clear their own space. And then, you may have rented a venue. You need to make sure that you leave that venue even cleaner and tidier than when you actually arrived. So have fun, enjoy your teaching experience, and I know your students will enjoy it too.